A Frog Thing, written by Eric Druckmann, illustrated by James Muscarello, published by Kidwick Books, copyright 2005. Hi boys and girls, Mr. Anderson here again. I've got another fun story for you, and this one has a very unusual title. It's called A Frog Thing. And, well, it doesn't quite make sense. You're like, what is a frog thing? Well, you see, boys and girls, a lot of times as parents, we parents will say to our kids, you know, when you grow up, you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want to be, you know, because we live in a great country here in America. If you work hard, you study hard in school, you can pretty much do what you want with your life when you get older. But we forget to say one thing. You can do any human thing that you want. You can be any human thing when you get older. Well, in this story, there's a little frog, and, well, what he wants to do, more than anything else, is he wants to fly. But we all know frogs cannot fly. So this is called a frog thing. Frank wanted to fly, but he was a frog, and frogs can't fly. Frank was different, though. He was special, aerodynamic. "You can do whatever you set your mind to, Frankie," his parents had promised. So Frank, he set his mind to flying. But it was more like falling than flying. And everyone laughed at him. Tired and discouraged, Frank buried his head in his big web feet. And that's how Frank's parents found him. Frank explained his problem, and there was a long silence as they thought about how to respond. "Frankie," started Frank's dad finally, "when we said you could do anything you set your mind to, we meant any frog thing. See, flying is a bird thing, just like staying underwater forever is a fish thing." "Yeah, you should find a frog thing," said Mom. "But I want to fly." Sorry, kiddo, but frogs can't fly," explained Dad. "No," agreed Mom. "We swim, we hop, but we don't fly." "They don't understand," he thought. "We understand," they said, and they patted Frank's shoulder. Well, Frank, he just sat in the dark, still sad, but growing more determined. "I'll show them," he thought. "I'll learn to fly, and I'm going to fly right over the pond." He jumped and ran and leapt and dove. He flapped and flapped and flapped, and finally, well, he just flopped onto a leaf to rest. He soaked his sore feet and hung his head until... Splash! Something crashed into the water, and it started to sink. Frank leapt into action. It's a little baby bird," he thought. He swooped down, swept her up, and swam her back to shore. Oh, the nervous mother bird hugged her baby tight. Her baby coughed then wheezed, then opened her eyes, safe and warm in her mother's arms. The mother bird turned and kissed Frank right on the cheek. Well, he was very surprised and a little embarrassed. Thank you, she chirped. What a great swimmer you are! How can I ever repay you? Aw, it was nothing, ma'am, said Frank, for he was a very polite and modest frog. Well, please, I want to do something for you. Anything. Well, suggested Frank, I really want to fly. But frogs don't fly, said the mother bird. I know, admitted Frank. And you still want to fly? Frank shrugged. I've set my mind to it. She looked in his eyes and then flew off in a flutter. Wait here, she cried. I'll be right back. And she did come back with another bird and a twig between them. Grab on, she called. Before he knew it, they were high above the trees. The morning sun streamed through the sky, and the wind whistled over Frank's slick green skin. It was a little scary at first, but he soon relaxed, and they glided and rose and swooped and dove. Everyone hurried to see Frank fly. They watched him from the bank as he and the birds passed high overhead. There they are, just those little specks right there. This is no ordinary frog thing, observed Frank's mom. When their flight was finished, the mother bird pulled Frank close. You are a very special frog, she said, and with a whoosh of her wings, she just flew back to her nest. Breathless, Frank waved. Thank you! Thank you so much! Frank hopped home, somehow lighter than before. On his way home, he met his folks. Oh, Frankie, we saw you up there, Mom beamed. Fantastic, croaked Dad. You can do anything you set your mind to. Anything, agreed his mom. Well, any frog thing, maybe, Frank explained. The birds were the ones flying. I was just holding on. But I do think I could be one of the great swimmers. His parents smiled proudly as Frank joined his friends in the pond. Frank had wanted to fly, but he was a frog. And frogs can't fly. But they sure can swim. And I don't know if you can see this close enough, boys and girls, but he is actually swimming in the water, and it kind of looks like he's flying in the sky. And through the water, there's some birds up there flying up above in the air. So he can still pretend that he's flying, but he's flying in water like a frog.